bring in Eric Marabauti right now from a co-editor of our Belief blog. And Eric, you made a point via email to Don and I earlier that if in fact that is the description of the shooter, he is definitely not part of that congregation. Why?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key tenets for male Sikhs is to let their hair grow long and to wrap it in a turban and to let their beard grow long. That's not just a fashion statement, guys. That's a tenet of their belief. It's a deeply held devotion. It's a sign of submission to God, and it's one of the key things that identifies men here, in particular in the United States, as Sikhs. And we see typically from an Indian background and typically wearing the turban and the beard, and that's one of the clearest identifiers. And like we talked about earlier, one of the reasons why they're often misinterpreted as being followers of Islam, as being Muslims. And so when we heard those scanner reports and from our affiliates, one of the things that key to me is, well, there's a good chance this is not a fellow who went to this gurdwara who was not a member of their community necessarily, or at least not a practicing who would be considered a person in good standing with that particular faith. So as we're waiting and watching for these developments to come clear, this is one of the things I think a lot of people in the Sikh community are going to be looking at is why were they targeted? And it could even speak to the fact as to why the police are calling this a domestic terrorism incident. One of the things, I've covered a lot of church shootings in the past, and oftentimes what we see is someone coming in with a gripe against a pastor or against a spouse and is targeting a specific individual or a specific faith. It's not very often that we see shooters come in and target an entire congregation or an ethnic or religious minority like this. And that is probably why I think we're seeing them treating this as a terrorism incident. And again, we'll keep watching and waiting